Welcome to Trading Nation. I'm Leslie Picker, and let's take a look at the chip stocks rallying on Tuesday. The SMH Semiconductor ETF hitting an all-time high, now up 12% in 2018 alone. Is now the time to buy? Matt Maley is with Tabak. Gina Sanchez is with Chantico Global. Matt, you like one name in the group. Tell us what it is.
Well, it's interesting. It's Intel. I mean, to be honest with you, the one I liked the best was Micron Technologies, which you don't always think about as a chip stock, but it is in the SMH Semiconductor ETF. And it's had, I mentioned it last week, it's up 16% since then. But Intel, which is one that has been lagging the technology sector and the chip group overall over the last 2 years, is finally starting to play catch up. And you kind of think of this as a big, bulky company that doesn't have, isn't one of those sexy stocks that it was back in the 1990s, but it has a lot of potential on a technical basis. I mean, you saw the stock when it pulled back during the, kind of the mini crash we saw there in February. It went down and held its January lows down at the 42.5 level. So that made a nice little double bottom for the stock. Now it's trying to break back above the $50 level. That's been key resistance for the stock. It got up to that level in January and at the very end of February. Now we're getting slightly above that. Now, like we always do, we all want to see just a slight breakout. We need to see a more meaningful breakout to really confirm that the thing is going to take off. But this stock is one that has underperformed for a while, and it could play catch-up really quickly and actually outperform over the coming months if it can indeed see this, a little bit more of a rally. So I really like Intel here.
Gina, what's your outlook here?
Well, so if you look at the whole sector, there could actually be some support for Intel and just the entire sector as a whole. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing a shift. Obviously, one of the big drivers of semiconductor demand was crypto mining, cryptocurrency mining. However, that shifted to the replacement cycle. And as we got into the recovery, a lot of analysts underestimated the growth of the semiconductor industry. Last year, that sector grew 20%, 22% in revenue. That's a pretty big number. And you know what actually hindered that was that capacity wasn't there. In 2018, we could actually see additional capacity come online. So there's still some pent-up demand, and we're also seeing additional demand in wireless as well as automotive. Both of those areas could be also beneficial drivers. So I do actually think there's a strong fundamental story for the semiconductor sector as a whole.
Now, Gina, we've seen quite a bit of consolidation in the semiconductor space, most recently, of course, with the back and forth between Broadcom and Qualcomm. How do you think that changes the game for the space?
That's a very stock-specific story. I mean, I think that what we're talking about right now is just, do we see additional demand coming on, or do we see additional capacity coming online? I do actually think there's a holdup right now in that space. So I think it's a broader story than just two stocks.
Matt, is there any sense that the potential trade wars would impact this space at all? Is that something we should be focused on?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, it's just something I think is going to be further down the road. And on a broad subject, the whole trade war, I mean, we're such in the early stages of it. And, as we all have seen what Donald Trump has done many times in the past, where he's, thrown out a number way out here and come back and done something in the middle. But going back to what Gina was talking about, we just see that the supply-demand equation really constrained on the supply side. So we do think that the whole group has a lot of upside potential here. Of course, a lot of it's going to depend on the broad market. But I think that all this talk about the trade wars is something that may have an impact many months down the road. But over the near term, we're focused on other issues because it's just not. The stock market went down one day, so that everybody reacted to it. But it's not as big a deal as a lot of people, I think it is.
All right. My thanks to Matt and Gina for joining us today. And thank you for watching Trading Nation. I'm Leslie Picker. We'll see you next time.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.